Hi, my name is Jacob. This is French Drift In, episode 20, and we're on the road.
For old-fashioned recipes in your garden and needs, while sipping on Kentucky bourbon. You sit right back in your big red hat, we're taking rural back from the urban. Listen to the stories where Kentucky is proud, share the giggles with all of your friends. You all tuned in to Friends Drifting.
Beautiful sight. This is kind of what the pioneers saw when they came into these mountains. If you look over through there, you can see for miles and miles and miles. Almost looks like you're an island of floating green. We're standing up here, we're looking out there, even with the hawks and the birds flying around circling. We're almost at the same level they are up here on Pine Mountain.
Hey, I'm Joyce.
I'm Charlie.
I'm Jacob.
It's Friends Drift In, episode 20. We've been on the road and we've been working like crazy people this week. We're high atop of Pine Mountain, which is the second largest mountain in Kentucky. We produce our jam in a commercial kitchen called Cane, which is right down below us. So we produce right in the shadow of Pine Mountain. And every season, it just changes and changes so much, doesn't it, Charlie?
Oh, yes, it's beautiful. I'm going to try to reach up there and show you that. Behind us, that is miles and miles of mountains. And you get up here and see some beautiful sights.
It's Appalachia at its finest right now, and it's the summertime. So what we've been doing this week is we did a show. It's finally opened up here in Kentucky, so no mask. Everybody's trying to get back to normal. So we did a show this week. We produced jam for our benefactor, Bourbon Barrel Foods, and we got that almost ready to ship. In fact, we feel like we've been running around in circles, and I'm going to drop some film here to show you what I mean about that. And then what else have we done, Charlie?
Well, this week we watched it rain a lot. It's been a very rainy week, but we got the little tractor up and it's running good and hoping to get the big one back here in just a couple weeks.
So when we talk about Appalachia, we talk about Elderberry tide, and we just barely dodged a bullet with that because the elderberries are blooming, and what Elderberry tide means is that that's usually one of the last floods of the spring. And so we dodged a bullet. It got kind of high, but we dodged a bullet and no flood yet. Knock on wood here on the top of Pine Mountain.
But we did get a lot of our winter squash and watermelons planted the day just before it started to rain. So we hope that rain will give them a really good head start and get them going good.
So Jake has finished up with his college work for this year.
Yep.
And so he's able to help us more on the farm and in the kitchen and at the shows. So what did you learn at the show this week, Jake? What did you learn about retail? Did you learn about how to do displays, and what do we have to do?
You gotta make sure that it's full and just generally make it pretty.
Make it pretty, gotta be full, everything's gotta be faced up. What's the rule?
Let's see.
Pile it high and watch
let
it fly. And that's kind of what we want to talk about a little bit today is our subject matter is we're going to drop in some footage of a show that we did the other day. If you're thinking of trying to monetize your farmstead outside of produce selling and try to do some shelf-stable type items, we talked about how to secure a tent, not to secure like buy, but how to break it down. Why do we want to tie a tent down, Charlie?
You don't want to be chasing it across the parking lot if you get a big windstorm, because every time it rains, you get a lot of wind, and those, just like a kite, they will take off and you'll be chasing it. We've seen them fly into the pond. We've seen them fly everywhere over the years. A lot of times when you're homesteading, you want to make a little extra money. You go to farmers market or festivals, and some of the things you don't think about are like your canopies or your tents. We could have got a red canopy to show that our Friends Drift In colors and kind of do the branding thing, but we chose a white canopy. One, because it's lighter, gives you more light in your booth. Two, it's cooler, but the main reason is it's really better for photography. Photography allows the light to reflect back off and gives you good lighting on everything else you need. And also, the thing you got to think about when you're doing canopies is making sure that they are stable. Now, we we have 2 or 3 different things. Like here, we're next to some posts. We tied them into the post here. You can see we got a pretty good wind going here, and they'll lift up maybe an inch or two, but that's it. They don't go anywhere. But now when we're outside doing something freestanding, we'll show you what we've got back here. These are our favorite little things here. These are weights to hold the tent down. They're Velcro. You just wrap them around. I'm not sure
Show us how we do it.
not sure how much they weigh, but they're Velcro. You know, they're really easy. You just wrap it back around there and Velcro it in, and that holds it down. And you set them on those little tabs as well. But these are filled with water. We like to use water instead of sand. Sand's a little denser, maybe a little heavier. But water, when you get done, you can empty that out, and it saves space in your vehicle when you're trying to pack up and carry stuff back and forth as well. So, you know, things you got to do about the things we do for farmers markets and for festivals. You got to think about all those kind of things. This is very important for liability issues, because if this thing goes flying over and hits somebody, then you could be the one in trouble with it. Plus, it can destroy all your product as well. I've seen them happen before. Believe me, we've been in enough farmers markets to see them travel 50, 60 yards down the road into lakes, into fences, into cars, anything. Also, one of the other things that we do is we went with the square. Now, you need to find ways to take credit card payments, and the square is really easy. You pay a fee per transaction. It's a percentage. Don't pay any money up front. Now, you notice we had the whole 9 yards. We've got the card reader and we've got the iPad. Now, you can do it simply. If you got an iPhone or an Android phone, you can get the little plug-in that goes in and works. That's what we started out with. But now that we've been doing bigger and bigger shows, we found this is much more convenient for us. Plus, we can use this in our storefront as well, and we can move it around. This is very portable. It plugs into electricity. You got a nice long cord. No big deal to use that. And it's with the phones and with the iPads, you can use Wi-Fi, or you can use cellular data, which is what we're using today, is cellular data, because there's no Wi-Fi here in this local area. But we have found that being able to take credit cards makes a big difference, because that's sales that you couldn't otherwise get. And the big thing like that with the square, you can pay, I think, $9.95 for the little square that plugs into your phone, and that's an easy way to get started. Yeah, you're going to lose a little bit of profit on the front, but you got to price that in when you price your products.
Not only is that distressing when you have it fly, you might lose some of your product if it flies, but it could also be a liability issue if your tent hits somebody. So we showed you some about that. We showed you a little bit about displaying and how to monetize, like, how to sell a little bit. We want to talk about one thing that we do at shows, and something that you should know if you're doing a show like a trade show, or you're doing an event like a craft show or a festival. One of the things that you want to do is you want to be able to not only sell to the people that come through, the regular customers, but you also never want to forget about the other vendors, because if you are cordial to the other vendors and you're short on something, they might help you if you don't have your scissors or your twine or that type of thing, but they might be your good customer, and if they're from someplace that you're not, they might be able to give you referrals and leads to somebody that could use your merchandise. So always be good to the other vendors when you're there. Sometimes we have had shows where we've sold more, we made more money, made more contacts with the vendors than we ever did from the audience.
That's very true. But it's always nice, always there's certain things you want to do. When you're in a sales situation, always stand up. Don't be sitting by your table, behind your tables or whatever, because people think, well, they're not really interested.
And don't be playing with your phone.
Look up at them. You see somebody walk by, say, hey, how you doing?
Hey, y'all.
So, just reach out to people, be friendly, be inviting, and get them, make sure that they make them comfortable coming to see you.
Ready? So one of the things that we work on is shelf-stable products that we can sell to the public, or that we can also sell wholesale to retailers like gift stores and wine shops and party shops. So one of the things we produce is a gourmet line of jams, and we do that in a commercial kitchen, and it's all federally inspected. But the advantage of doing shelf-stable products is that they have a longer shelf life. So if you have a gap in your production, you still have this to sell, And if you don't have a gap in your production, this gives you an extra add-on sale. Some of our most popular jams are our red pepper jelly. We use this one on cream cheese a lot. It's really good around here. Beer cheese in Kentucky is very popular. We do it with beer cheese and pimento cheese. We also carry some green pepper jelly. The green is sweeter, and when we pair it with the red, especially at Christmas, red and green, it makes a really pretty presentation on pimento cheese. We have a strawberry jalapeno. Y'all can check on our website. We do a mean margarita, a strawberry margarita with this that is just to beat the day. I mean, really good. We do our apple butter, which is really more traditional in fall, but we sell it all year long. We have bourbon peach cobbler jam, which we featured last week on our grilled peaches that Charlie did on the grilling show. We also have salted watermelon. Y'all, we talk a lot about watermelon. You know, we're growing those Bradford watermelons this year, so we're looking forward to trying that because it'll have a higher Brix. So that's what we're hoping to grow those for. We do a blueberry cardamom jam. Probably our most popular is strawberry rhubarb and a strawberry moonshine, y'all, because we're in Appalachia, and we use moonshine that is from Poly Hollow Distillery, which is in Pike County, and it is a legal distillery. So this is all legal, and of course we don't have a liquor license, so there's just a little bit of moonshine in there, but it's all good.
And the hat flies off again. Blackberry bourbon, probably our most popular, and one of our most versatile is bourbon tomato jam. We used that on last week's grilling show as well, and that's what the way it's going to be. Joyce, you're going to have to hold on to that hat today.
All right, so some of the things I want to talk about with the shelf-stable product and what we've had to do to get by. Of course, we had to have federal inspections. Anytime we're doing a pepper jam or jelly or anything that features a vegetable in it, it has to be submitted to the state. The recipe has to be submitted to the state showing our process, and then we also have to show our recipe. We have to set it up, and they do a test on pH and water activity and that type of thing to make sure it's going to be safe for you all. Of course, when we're sampling, we have to do, of course, we wear gloves. I don't have my gloves on right this minute, but we wear our mask. We have individual little spoons that we use, and that way, and we're dipping them ourselves. We're not allowing our customers to do it, so that they're getting the best, safest way to do things. So it's just something to think about. But as you're beginning your homestead or as you're expanding your homestead, look into getting your better processing license and being able to sell not just at the farmers market, but throughout the United States. Shelf-stable products will boost your bottom line. So what we filmed was up in Winchester, Kentucky, which is towards central Kentucky, where we did a show with Full Circle Market in Winchester. They're really known for their beer cheese. And Charlie, I want you to give an explanation about what beer cheese is real quick.
Well, beer cheese is it's kind of a Kentucky thing. You use a beer to bind it together, but you also use like an American cheese, and they grind it up and they put those together.
It's real smooth,
a lot of spices in it.
It's almost like a hummus as far as consistency.
Yes, but it's nice.
It's really good, and it's something Kentucky is known for.
And if you like red pepper jelly, our red pepper jelly goes really good
with beer
cheese.
We and pimento cheese too. The other show that we did was the Hatfield McCoy, which is a marathon, which is a really big deal for Appalachia. Tell us a little bit about that, Charlie.
Well, the Hatfield McCoy Marathon is in 2 states. It starts out in Williamson, West Virginia. You come over across into Kentucky. You go through Matewan, West Virginia, and come back into Kentucky. 26 miles of mountains.
Up and down hills.
Mountains.
Jake, are you ready for that?
No.
Jake used to be, what did he play on football?
It was a wide
receiver.
Yeah, wide receiver.
So he can run, but he ain't running like that.
No.
But, we had over 1,000 runners this weekend. Actually, they're running today while we're talking to you, or probably just finishing it up. So they ran this morning and a lot of people from all over the country who came from as far as we know of Utah, the D.C. area. We know out of Oklahoma, Texas, Georgia.
There's a couple out of Florida.
Florida, several out of Florida, Alabama. I mean, many states get involved in the Hatfield McCoy Marathon every year.
It's got a cult following, and sometimes I agonize whether we want to really monopolize on, all right, we're in Appalachia, we're hillbillies, we claim it. Hatfield McCoy feud, do you want to claim that? Well, yes, we do, and why do we?
It's part of our heritage. It's who we are. My family, actually, I have family that are on both sides of the feud, and a lot of people don't understand about what the Hatfield McCoy feud was about. They think it's about the Civil War. They think it's about a pig. I think that's kind of that was the fuse that lit the powder keg, but it boils down to it was an economic battle between two families fighting over timber rights.
And we had a lot of timber in this area at one time, and they shipped it out of here. They didn't ship it out of here just on rail, but a lot of it went out by the rivers. So the rivers were very important back in the day. They're still important, but they're not as important. They're not that big moving of machinery and products like it was back then.
Yeah, we had a lot of flotillas of logs that would go down the Big Sandy River all the way down, eventually into the Ohio, down to the Mississippi even, if it went that far. I mean, we shipped the timber from here, went everywhere. A lot of virgin timber, a lot of coal's been shipped out of here on barges down the Ohio River. So they haul it over to the coal docks, and they haul it out in barges. So a lot of river traffic. Actually, for years, back in the 1800s, there was a riverboat landing in Pikeville that they would bring steam wheelers in,
which is unheard of today because we moved the river.
Well, that's true. They can't get there. You're right. They can't get to Pikeville now. Pikeville is one of the largest earth-moving projects in the history of the United States.
It's more earth moved than Panama Canal.
No, second to the Panama Canal.
Yeah, second. That's right.
Second to the Panama Canal,
which is a big deal. That's a lot of dirt, y'all.
They moved the railroad and the river and the highway around the city of Pikeville for flood control, and gave Pikeville a lot more property, and actually made it a little bit nicer town in the long run. So it's really nice. It worked out really good for us. And since they moved the river, the city of Pikeville has not flooded yet. And there have been times that there were 10, 12 feet of water in downtown Pikeville.
Which is crazy. Now, Letcher County, where we are, Letcher County is also a coal county. It's down in Appalachia. We're right on the border of Virginia, you all. So we're, in one county we're in the border of Virginia, and if we're one county over, we're on the border of West Virginia. So we're kind of in that, even though we claim Kentucky, we bleed blue, no doubt. But this area is our area, and we claim it as home. We're not far, y'all. We make apple butter, and in the fall we'll be talking about that more. But we're not far from what they call Kingdom Come. And we've had some stories about our apple butter last year that was just kind of crazy.
Last year we had a late frost here in Kentucky, and a lot of the apple orchards took a big hit. Well, the apple orchard over at Kingdom Come, or just beside Kingdom Come State Park where we get our apples, they got hit by the frost, which hurt them. But then the bears at Kingdom Come Park, with the state of Kentucky being closed down, all the parks, there's no food. They couldn't go to the garbage dumps and all that like bears will do. So they came over and they raided all the apple trees. And so we could not get apples. We had to go to Central Kentucky
to get apples this year, which broke my heart. And I'm glad, I'm thankful for the producers, the Kentucky Proud producers up in Central Kentucky. But we like to keep things local and down here in the mountains amongst us. So, what other things we got going on, Charlie?
Well, we're hoping to get everything back to working on our raspberries and blackberries. We got our first year growth up, and they're looking good. So hopefully next year we'll get our first set of raspberries. Actually, raspberries and raspberries. We don't have any blackberries planted this time. Jake's got to step out and answer his phone. You know how that goes.
When you got a girlfriend, you got to go where you got to go.
That's right.
But so we're getting ready to do some shows up in Lexington.
We're going to move around, give them a little bit different angle, because we got a lot of. See if we can get that sunshine behind us instead of. It looks like kind of getting a little. There we go. That gets a little bit better look, doesn't it?
I don't know, but there you can see back the beauty of Pine Mountain. We're not far from if y'all like country music and kind of that Appalachian feel, you know, the Apple Shop is near here, which is a radio station. It's kind of like Appalachia's NPR.
Yeah.
I guess that's the best
That's a
way
good
to put it. I mean, sometimes you show up there and there's people just sitting around picking, and we've been there where they do the only radio show that's live cooking.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's a crazy kind of quirky part of what is Appalachia and Letcher County. As far as the homestead goes, you know, we're going to be working on doing some of our own home canning as it's getting close. Our tomatoes are getting very ripe down in the high tunnel, and we're getting ready to plant our herbs. We haven't put any of our herbs out yet. We're getting ready to do that. We still haven't got the beans out, y'all. I know we've been talking about beans, and it's rained and it's rained and it's rained, so we got to get the beans out in a few days. But we're moving along.
Yeah, things are working along. Got some beautiful weather today. Hopefully that'll dry things up when you're back out in the garden on Monday to see what's going on.
I'm Joyce.
I'm Charlie.
I'm Jacob.
Come see us again, folks.
At Friends Drift In.